Good to see y'all. Practice today. Connor McDougal's out still. Don't know when he's going to be back. Still having concussion protocol, struggling a little bit. Everybody else is healthy. I think Jordan Hunter will be a little bit more healthier to practice today and play a little bit better with his ankle. I think he's a little bit tentative the last couple of days, but I think he's back. Day off yesterday, so got a tough road trip. Colorado State's playing very well. So we're going to have to be ready to play motion offense. Clavel's a good player. Page is a good player. Emmanuel's a very good player. They're power forward. And Nixon's playing well. So our guys are going to have to play at a high level. I think they're ready for that, and we're ready to get back on the floor.
There's not a ton of really good skilled bigs in this league, but this has a matchup that has two of the best in the league. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, and I think Emmanuel played really, really good at Boise. I think he made 4 threes that game, shooting the ball better. He's a one-man offensive rebounding machine. That's been tough for us. Offensive rebounds has hindered us. So he played well against us up there last year. So he'll be a tough matchup.
Offensively, I mean, obviously the offensive rebounds is a big
He's
part of
better.
his offense,
Yeah, but he's better offensively. He's shooting the ball better. He's making better low post moves. He's more active. So he's not getting most of his points off offensive reboundings.
Do you think it'd be a good time to get out on the road a little bit because, sometimes the fans get crazy. So.
You said that.
Yeah, no, I know.
You said that. I know we don't have a microphone because we can't afford to have one down here so you can hear the questions.
Yeah.
So, I think we're just ready to play again. I don't think it's that big of a deal, but I think it's caught up with some. I think it affects them. I think their confidence is a little shaken. So hopefully we'll gain that back. So we watched film today after breakfast, and then we had lift, and now we're getting ready for practice. But
the reason I said that is because I was thinking about how during the past years, some of the guys we talked to, they'd say there's a lot of pressure to play the pit, and that's why I was thinking hey, these guys probably need a break, get out on the road.
Well, I think it's pressure wherever you play. My thing with them is you don't have too many games to keep throwing away. Tim Williams and Obach only have 13 games guaranteed, and their career's over. And I told them, I said, I'd give anything that I've accomplished, anything that I've done, anything I have material-wise, anything I have, I would give it back to go play again. And you don't know until it's gone. And I think if they all ask some of the guys that they've played with that are done, I think they'd tell them. But they're kids, and you gotta try to pull the right strings to get them to play at a certain level. They've shown that they can play at a great level. They've shown that they can play at an average level. So hopefully they'll come together and be on the same page and play at a high level.
Coach, is this one kind of like a street fight? I mean,
this one? Well, it's just the way they play. It's motion offense. It's not a lot of stuff you can do scouting-wise to take away from plays they run or certain plays they run. You have to rely on your principles. You can't let them dribble drive you. You have to have really good pick-and-roll coverage, and then you have to keep them off the boards. And then scoring-wise, they're a little bit different because they're tough defensively. They don't get out and pressure like they've done in the past with Larry's teams. They're not that, out in the passing lane denying. But they're good. They're good, and they got guys coming off the bench that play well. So it's a tough game for us. It'll be a challenge defensively, and it'll be a challenge to keep them off the boards. We got to continue to work on 3 things, and I've told you that we can't give up so many points off of turnovers. We can't offensive rebound and let them score, which hurts us, and then transition points. But if you look at every game we've played in the Mountain West, our second half has really hurt us. In a sense, what I'm saying is the first 8 minutes. Our goal is to hold teams to 6 points the first 8 minutes, or every 4 minutes, 6 points, and we've only done that one time. We've tied it a couple times, but when we've tied it, we've had to score 13 or 14. We've had to outscore the other team. So that's something we got to work on, is coming out better, start of a better second half, and finish better.
Does that mean you need to change your approach
get in them. This group, you're going to learn, Lee, this day and age with these kids, you can't get them anymore. You know, I had 4 or 5 people send me pressers from other coaches around the country, and they just go right at and name their kids. Can't do that here. And you know, there's a really, really good one on Bobby Knight and Steve's senior year. You just can't do that nowadays with the kids, and our kids just don't respond to that. I think we have to just be real positive with our group and try to get them to play as hard as they can. But at the end of the day, it's like, it's got to mean something to you. You know, what are you playing for? You know, how can you come out and not have the effort? I mean, you guys have been around here. You've seen it all. We had almost 12,000 people come to see us play against UNLV after what happened in Nevada, which is amazing. And, you know, our guys got to appreciate that, and they should have came out with a little better effort.
I'm surprised how the conference race is because it's just all over the place.
Yeah. I'm not really surprised, but I just think I kind of figured it was going to be like that. And I think anybody can beat anybody. So the teams that are going to be consistent and do the right things and be able to guard are going to be the guys there at the end.
You mentioned Clavell at the beginning of your presser. What makes him such a good offensive threat? I mean, I know he can stretch it a little bit, but he can drive too, right?
Yeah, he's a good driver, but he can score he scores it from, I mean, he'll shoot it from anywhere and make them. He's good. He can post you. He can drive you. He's good in transition. He's always active. So he causes problems just because of his activity.
You mentioned before about the players being a star in their role. Mm-hmm. Have you talked to Sam about maybe just focusing on the little things and trying rebound defense and then letting the offense come in?
I think a player has to star in their role. I think a player has to be willing to accept that. Until they accept that, they can't do it no matter what you tell them. So I think, yeah, there's certain guys that we've talked to all of them, but until you're willing to do that, and I think the biggest thing with our team is I think when we're on the same page and we do what we're supposed to do, we're really, really good. When we have 1 or 2 guys that get off of that team bubble, then we struggle. And until they do it all together, then they're going to continue to be an average team, or they could be a really, really good team.
Can you remind them, Coach, that how important Tim is and that you need to pound the ball?
Tim Williams?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was shown on film today. So when you're consumed by what stats you have, and you're consumed on what people write about you, and you're consumed on things that really don't matter as far as winning basketball games, convincing people to pound it into Tim Williams isn't as easy as you think it is. So, I mean, that's all we write about. Guys make all league because our writers get the vote now, and coaches get the vote, and now we just go down the list, and they just, all right, the top 5 guys that score the points, and it's not picked on who wins games, or I don't pick them that way, but that's what our society's been about. I mean, if you look at, all right, is everybody's on the triple-double Westbrook look, right? Are they talking about how many games they've won? So, I mean, that's, for a coach's perspective, that's a little bit different.
With that said, then where does Tim rank right now in this league? I mean, he's not.
What do you mean,
winning.
rank?
I mean, earlier this year you thought he might be the best player in the league.
I think both of them are. I think both of them are. I think things are picked by all league is not. I don't think a guy that's team doesn't win the conference should be all league. I don't think he should be the player of the year if he doesn't win the league. I think winning is not as important with all these picks that we pick.
But I guess my question to you though is, you guys have lost 3 in a row. Are Tim and Elijah still players you think are among the best in the league? If you guys
I think they're among the best in the league, but we have to start winning games. Because at the end of the day, guys, you can say all the stats you want, but the people talk about is how were your teams?
Talk about not playing 10, 11 minutes, 37, 38. If we do go out, how do you plan on using big
It's going to be hard. We're going to have to go small. So, I mean, we're going to have to play 4 guards. But That's going to be difficult. I think Joe will play. The only problem is it's really hard to play Joe and O together. You know, the bad thing is you try to give Elijah a break with Damian, and you need Tim Williams on the floor, and then to get Tim Williams a rest, you need those two guys on the floor as much as you can together. And with our depth being, you know, kind of taken away from us with X and Connor, I think at the end of the day, it's a little bit difficult. That's why we have to go small. We'll probably play small.
We saw some of that small lineup last
Yeah, a
year.
little bit.
And you said you
Didn't see
feel-
it as much in the UNLV game that maybe you thought you would.
What are you looking for from that small lineup?
Easy scores and being able to guard, causing some problems defensively, being a little bit more aggressive, maybe pressure a little bit more, maybe switch a lot. So that's the biggest thing.
Has Kuiper earned that fifth starting spot now?
Yeah, he's starting.
What concerns you the most about Colorado State?
What's that?
What concerns you the most about Colorado State? We just looking at the
How they score it. I'm worried about scoring. I'm worried about we haven't been rebounding very well. We got a defensive rebound.
With that said, as far as like you've been in the game for a long time, and the experience with all the different athletes and the fragile players nowadays. How do you balance it to let them know about a sense of urgency when they've got?
I think they understand it. I just think their confidence is shaken. I do. I just think their confidence is shaken. It's my job to kind of, hey, this is the good things we do. This is how we do it. This is, you know, and don't harp on the bad things. I mean, I'm trying to harp on the good things that they can do and how good they can be, and they've shown that. So it's not like they haven't shown that. So if we hadn't played the San Diego State game the way we did, we played flashes of the Utah State game. We played really well the Fresno game against a very good team. We showed tons of flashes in the Nevada game. Didn't show much, maybe in about a 6-minute, 4-minute spurt in UNLV. It's just got to be more consistent. We got to make a more habit of it.
Greg, I'll give you an opportunity to comment on this, though I know it's sort of a touchy subject maybe among coaches, but Larry's playing 3 guys that they've already announced are academically ineligible. Second semester doesn't start till next week. Do you have any thoughts on a fellow coach playing 3 players that they've already announced are academically ineligible?
Jeff, to be honest with you, we've had discussions about everything since I've been here. I don't think it's right for me to comment. We just take that very seriously here. I wish that we got wins for our academic GPAs. I wish we got wins for that, but we don't. That's up to Larry. That's up to Larry. So I mean, that's their program. I can only comment about mine.
Commenting about yours in academics, then you haven't had in your 4 years, I don't think, a player miss for academics, have you?
No, we just had another 3.0. I think we've broken every record that's been here academically. We haven't had one ineligible. I don't think we've had one since I've been a part of the program for 10 years. I know JR was close, but he got eligible right in time to play our first game.
There wasn't anyone deep down the roster in some of those early years? 'Cause
I don't think so.
I can't remember when it was either.
I don't think we had anybody. Our first year was JR, Jamal, Darren Prentice, Ferris. There was nobody on that team. Not that I think of. Monquel and Johnny Harris made it. So I don't think we had anybody ineligible. Not that I can think of, Jeff. I mean, not off the top of my head. I mean, that would be a pretty big.
Yeah, and
And I'm sure there hadn't been anything. Yeah.
I can't find when the last one was.
Yeah.
It's been a while. Jalen Harris is a guy who, because of injury, has been playing probably more minutes than he
Yeah.
might be ready for, but
You're right.
he is stepping into
It's hard.
starting point
Yeah, it's
guard in
hard.
this league. How do you think he's handled the extra minutes before he might be ready for that many? And how do you think his development's coming along?
I think he's played really good, Jeff. I think he's done everything we've asked him to do. I just think the load has been a little bit much for him for being a freshman. He's a little bit different than it was very similar to when Jamal was here. Because Jamal's sophomore year, we started Jamal the first I want to think we started Jamal the first 6 or 7 games, and then Hugh took over. Hugh was more physically ready. Darius Gary was more physically ready as a freshman. I'm talking about being strength-wise, stamina-wise, physicality-wise. Jalen's thin, athletic, fast, fast twitch. Darius and Hugh weren't really the fast twitch guys, and I think that's a little bit harder for Jalen because just the minutes and the physical wear. I think he's done a tremendous job. I just think that it's played a little role on him. I think the last game you could tell a little bit.
Is he, as the point guard, he has a bigger, mental load to take on when he
Yes.
doesn't know where everything's doing. Is
Right.
he developing along those lines?
Yes,
Knowing what-
he has. He's developed along. He's really good at that. He's gotten better that way. Now, Jeff, he's going to make mistakes. Like we are all going to make mistakes. I mean, but it's not because he doesn't understand or comprehend it.
And what about the fouling? Are you at all apprehensive about keeping him out? I mean, we talk about when you keep players out with a certain amount of fouls. He's a guy that's picked up at least a couple.
Jalen?
Yeah, Jalen.
Yeah, that was a really concerning ULV game, and I think that's one reason why we played so much zone. I think that was the reason why that, we just couldn't lose him at that point in the game.
When is he picking up his fouls? I mean, I know I'm watching the game too, but I can't. A lot of them seems kind of in those moments that
They're like the ones when they don't count. Those fouls that don't count where they're away from the ball, they're 45 feet away from the basket, and he's picking up a hand check. Or like the last game, all he had to do was run a straight line and go get it, and he run into the guy, and the guy flops over. So, I mean, he's picked up some ones that are a little bit away, that aren't even involved in a play. He just has to do a better job. When you're thin and people get ready to hit you, your tendency is to yeah. So he's got to learn how to wall up and get wide and put his hands up so he can't get those little ticky-tack fouls.
They both have to put the hands down for
Yeah,
different reasons.
they do.
But I mean, that's Hunter's game, is it not?
Yes.
Be able to get back in there.
Yes. I just think he has to get healthy. Anytime you're a point guard or rely on your feet as much as he does, and you have something wrong with your ankle or your feet, that affects you. I think there's a little bit of tendency to like be apprehensive, but I think it's a situation where he has to get back into it and get going, and I think he will. But we need him. I mean, we need him to be a really good team. We need Jordan Hunter to be really good.
It affects your rotation. Too.
Affects our rotation. It affects guys getting tired, but it also he does 2 things really well. I mean, really well. He can make free throws, and he can make shots. And as you can tell, the last few games we've had a hard time making free throws and making jump shots. Now, we've shot the free throw exceptionally well, better than we ever had in a long time. But one game it kind of cost us, and now our perimeter shooting isn't where it should be, and we're not making shots, and I think he can help us with that. I really think he can make shots.
How close do you think he is to being like 100%? I know.
Oh, I don't know if he'll be 100% for a while, but he'll be where he can play, where he can give us some valuable minutes.
Anything else?
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.